In 2021, a lot of news outlets started discussing what they called the friendship recession.
Adults are facing a friendship recession, according to new data.
But within weeks, it became changed to the male friendship recession due to the undeniable disparity in how it was impacting both of the sexes. It became this ever-present question in the mental health world: where did everyone's friends go? But I think the more important one is, how is this affecting them? Male loneliness almost sounds like an oxymoron with the way we like to play games by ourselves, build man caves, go on solo walks, solo camping trips. You, the person who's watching, do you have a male best friend? The stats on this show about 15% of men don't. In fact, it shows 15% of men have no friends at all. Sure, it can be nice at times. Time to work, time to think, maybe too much time to think with no real way to address those thoughts. But still, alone time for a man from the outside would appear to be all we can ask for until I don't think there is a single person over 20 that doesn't know of a man who's taken his own life. You can probably go back through your high school yearbook, and I'll bet you'll find one every couple pages. And for every single one of those men, there's a friend, a sister, a parent, blaming themselves for not reaching out or not noticing the signs. On January 14th, I received a normal message from my buddy Jeremy. Nothing unusual about it, just talking about his new work gig, didn't think anything of it. We didn't see each other much, but we would always text each other every few months to check in. He ended the conversation telling me about this new project he was working on, but abruptly ended the conversation. "Stay blessed," he said. I asked what the project was, but he didn't reply, and that was fine. I thought it was, at least. Later that year, I messaged him happy birthday. And in December, he took his own life. I went back to our messages and saw that he never saw that last message. I used to describe him as the friend I never saw but always talked to, and I can't actually remember the last time that I did see him. I don't know who the last person was who did. I don't know the last person that he spoke to. But I know that when people take their own life, alone is probably a word that doesn't even scratch the surface of how they feel. When I left his wake, I called a friend that I hadn't spoken to in almost a year. We'd had a falling out. It happens sometimes. He answered the phone, confused, understandably. "Hello?" He and I always shared the reality of our mental state with each other. It was kind of like having a sponsor for AA, but it was for how depressed we were. He was one of the few people who really knew where my head was at, and I think I was one of those people for him too. Years before this call, he had reached out to me, said that he'd made a plan to go buy a gun, that he was going to go out into the desert, and that he was going to take his own life. He said he didn't want to be found. He said that was just a couple days ago. I never forgot that. I never forgot how close the world was to losing Tommy. I'd known people to take their life, but never someone close to me. So when Tommy said that, it scared me. Like this unthinkable taboo, despite the times that it had crossed my own mind. So there we are, I'm in my Jeep, driving away from Jeremy's wake. It had finally happened. A close friend had taken his life. The closest death I'd ever experienced, and a suicide at that. "Hello?" I realized I'd been sitting there in silence. And I broke. I cried. I said, no matter the state of our friendship, I hope he never did what Jeremy did. Not that I didn't understand the desire. I told him I loved him, and he said the same. We haven't spoken since. But I know he's alive. I know he owns a gun. And I still worry about it. Since I first started researching this episode, it had been about 5 years since I saw Tommy. But I actually ran into him a couple days ago. I was back home for Thanksgiving, and it really felt like no time had passed besides the, I guess, initial shock of seeing somebody that you just don't expect to see, right? Maybe male friendships can be unique in that way, you know? Time passes, but the friendship almost pauses there. Male friendships, though they are becoming less and less common, do seem to have this unique lifelong bond to them. Whether the friendship goes up or down, there's always this care and love for that person. I think it speaks to the importance of men's spaces. And I think the lack of them may be related to some of the male friendlessness. It might even be part of why so many men's groups are starting to pop up these days. Why so many men grieved the gendered separation of the Boy Scouts, or why so many men are getting into jiu-jitsu nowadays. To find friendship, family, connection. Because without a friend, without a community, without a safe place to meet and make friends, where can a man turn when things get bad?
I will say without a doubt that jiu-jitsu has saved my life. When we lost our son Kai, it was my jiu-jitsu community that helped get me into a safe space. I was allowed to get on the mats. I was able to take out my sadness, my anger, my fears, and rolling with the people that I trusted. It truly does become a second family to you.
In December 2019, suicide became real to me, and likely at least 100 other people, because every suicide impacts at least 135 people, according to a 2019 paper. On February 1992, the year that I was born, the world celebrated the first International Men's Day. Then in 2010, it was changed to November 19th, the day I was born. A weird coincidence, but still relevant. I posted this picture on my Instagram, November 19th, 2017. Most of the suicides, homelessness, victims of violent crimes, workplace deaths, incarceration statistics, all men.
Hey guys, if you like that clip, make sure to check out the full documentary that's linked here. Thank you.